If your hate could be turned into electricity, it would light up the whole world. My brain is only a receiver. In the universe there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration. I have not penetrated into the secrets of this core, but I know that it exists. Be alone, that is the secret of invention. Be alone, that is when ideas are born. One must be sane to think clearly, but one can think deeply and be quite insane. Our virtues and our failings are inseparable, like force and matter. When they separate, man is no more. All that was great in the past was ridiculed, condemned, combated, suppressed, only to emerge all the more powerfully, all the more triumphantly from the struggle. Let the future tell the truth, and evaluate each one according to his work and accomplishments. The present is theirs, the future, for which I have really worked, is mine. Life is and will ever remain an equation incapable of solution, but it contains certain known factors. Invention is the most important product of man's creative brain. The ultimate purpose is the complete mastery of mind over the material world, the harnessing of human nature to human needs. If you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have the key to the universe. Today's scientists have substituted mathematics for experiments, and they wander off through equation after equation, and eventually build a structure which has no relation to reality. We crave for new sensations but soon become indifferent to them. The wonders of yesterday are today common occurrences. What one man calls God, another calls the laws of physics. The individual is ephemeral, races and nations come and pass away, but man remains. The gift of mental power comes from God, divine being, and if we concentrate our minds on that truth, we become in tune with this great power. My mother had taught me to seek all truth in the Bible. You may live to see man-made horrors beyond your comprehension. It's not the love you make, it's the love you give. Great moments are born, great opportunity. Inventors don't have time for married life. So astounding are the facts in this connection, that it would seem as though the Creator himself had electrically designed this planet. Most persons are so absorbed in the contemplation of the outside world that they are wholly oblivious to what is passing on within themselves. But instinct is something which transcends knowledge. We have, undoubtedly, certain finer fibers that enable us to perceive truths when logical deduction, or any other willful effort of the brain, is futile. Every living being is an engine geared to the wheelwork of the universe. Though seemingly affected only by its immediate surrounding, the sphere of external influence extends to infinite distance. The carrying out into practice of a crude idea as is being generally done is, I hold, nothing but a waste of energy, money and time. The idea of atomic energy is illusionary, but it has taken so powerful a hold on the minds that although I have preached against it for 25 years, there are still some who believe it to be realizable. There is something within me that might be illusion, as it is often case with young delighted people, but if I would be fortunate to achieve some of my ideals, it would be on the behalf of the whole of humanity. When natural inclination develops into a passionate desire, one advances towards his goal in 7-league boots. The progressive development of man is vitally dependent on invention. It is the most important product of his creative brain. As I review the events of my past life, I realize how subtle are the influences that shape our destinies. It is not in the shallow physical imitation of men that women will assert first their equality and later their superiority, but in the awakening of the intellect of women. Peace can only come as a natural consequence of universal enlightenment and merging of races, and we are still far from this blissful realization. These are only new devices for putting the weak at the mercy of the strong. I am credited with being one of the hardest workers, and perhaps I am, if thought is the equivalent of labor, for I have devoted to it almost all of my waking hours. My project was retarded by laws of nature. The world was not prepared for it. It was too far ahead of time. But the same laws will prevail in the end and make it a triumphal success. There is scarcely a subject that cannot be mathematically treated, and the effects calculated or the results determined beforehand from the available theoretical and practical data. I had admired the works of artists, but to my mind, they were only shadows and semblances. The inventor, I thought, gives to the world creations which are palpable, which live and work. Most persons are so absorbed in the contemplation of the outside world that they are wholly oblivious to what is passing on within themselves. Merciless is the law of nature, and rapidly and irresistibly we are drawn to our doom. My belief is firm in a law of compensation. The true rewards are ever in proportion to the labor and sacrifices made. The by far greater number of human beings are never aware of what is passing around and within them, and millions fall victims of disease and die prematurely just on this account. And led me to finally recognize that I was but an automaton, devoid of free will in thought and action, and merely responsible to the forces of the environment.